God says, the trap they set for you will catch them instead. Not because you wish them harm, but because truth cannot stay buried. What was built on deception will always bend toward exposure, and what is born of malice will return to its maker. You don't need to lift a hand, integrity does the work for you. For a long time you felt watched, as though unseen hands were rearranging pieces behind your back. Words were twisted. Smiles were masks. It seemed that the harder you tried to do right, the darker the atmosphere around you became. You began to wonder if goodness still mattered, if decency was weakness. But even in that confusion, a quiet voice kept whispering, *Hold your peace. Stay true. Light defends itself, *. So you did. You kept showing up when it hurt. You kept praying when it felt useless. You kept loving when your heart wanted to close. And slowly, though you didn't see it at first, something started shifting. The lies began to contradict themselves. The people who conspired against you began turning on each other. The energy they used to control the story began to drain away. That is how divine law works. It balances what ego unbalances. When someone builds a plan out of fear or envy, they lace it with the same poison they hope another will swallow. They do not realize that fear always circles back to its source. The pit they dig is made of their own choices, the rope they weave is made of their own words. Nothing supernatural needs to intervene. Truth simply unfolds until the design reveals its maker. You may never see the collapse, you may just feel a sudden peace one morning, the air clear again, your name no longer heavy. That's enough. The best justice is peace. Keep walking as though nothing was ever stolen from you, because nothing truly was. What belongs to you cannot be taken, it can only be delayed until you are strong enough to hold it. While others plotted, life was strengthening your roots. While they whispered, grace was writing a better chapter. Remember this, protection is not always loud. Sometimes it looks like missed calls, canceled meetings, unexplained delays. Sometimes the universe keeps you home so that you don't walk into someone else's storm. Every inconvenience that saved your spirit was a shield in disguise. And as you learn to trust that timing, you start to relax. You stop needing to prove anything. You stop checking who is talking about you. You stop worrying about fairness. Because the same force that kept you safe will handle the rest. You begin to notice how the energy around you changes. Places that once drained you now feel lighter. Faces that once intimidated you no longer do. You can sense truth in a room without anyone saying a word. That awareness is your gift, the inner alarm that rings whenever deception is near. This is the secret of spiritual resilience. When you refuse to play by the rules of bitterness, you force negativity to collapse under its own weight. The trap loses its purpose because you step out of the game entirely. You bless those who curse you, not because they deserve blessing, but because you deserve peace. You wish them clarity, because only clarity can show them what they've done. You walk away with an unclenched heart, because you have learned that revenge binds you to the same energy you're escaping. Little by little, you rise, not by climbing over others, but by refusing to sink to their level. And as you rise, the schemes that depended on your reaction dissolve. What was meant to ensnare you can no longer find you, you have outgrown its reach. There is power in stillness. The world will tell you to fight fire with fire, but heaven teaches you to stand in light and let darkness burn itself out. The louder the storm, the deeper the calm you cultivate. That calm becomes your shelter. It confuses those who expect you to panic. It disarms those who feed on chaos. So when you feel pressure building again, when rumors start, when plans form, when you sense resistance, remember, the outcome has already been written. Every attempt to harm you carries within it the seed of its own undoing. The same energy that digs the pit fills it. Your task is not to watch their downfall, it is to keep moving forward in faith. Look ahead. Keep creating, keep helping, keep shining. The collapse behind you is only proof that you were never meant to stay there. You begin to see that the real lesson was never about what others tried to do to you, it was about how you respond when darkness invites you to join its game. Every slight, every rumor, every test becomes a mirror showing whether you still carry fear or whether you have finally learned peace. At first you wanted to shout the truth. You wanted the world to know what really happened, to expose every false word. But as the days passed, you realized that truth doesn't need a stage, it needs time. Time reveals what noise hides. So you stopped shouting and started listening. That silence became your power. While others were busy defending lies, you were gathering strength. While they rehearsed their stories, you were learning patience. And when the dust finally settled, it was obvious who had been honest all along. You didn't have to win, the truth simply stood when everything else fell. The trap they built could not hold you because it was designed for a version of you that no longer exists. They prepared snares for your old self, anxious, reactive, hungry for approval. But that self has outgrown the bait. You have learned that peace is not given by people, so it cannot be taken by them. Each time you refuse to return hate for hate, you loosen another knot. Each time you choose grace, you step out of another snare. Eventually there is nothing left to catch you, you move freely through what once terrified you. You start recognizing that the same events repeat in smaller forms, testing whether you will respond differently this time. Someone lies, you stay calm. Someone withholds credit, you keep doing good work. Someone excludes you, you use the quiet to build something new. The pattern breaks not when others change but when you do. And that's when the cycle ends, when the energy that built the trap finds no echo in you. It returns to its sender, not as punishment, but as consequence. The lesson circles back to its origin. You walk away, and balance restores itself. One morning you wake up and realize that your peace is so strong it frightens those who thrive on conflict. They can't figure out why their words no longer sting, why their silence no longer hurts. They don't understand that you have been rewired. You've learned to feed your soul from a source no one controls. Instead of asking, "Why did they do this?" you start asking, "What is this teaching me?" That question turns poison into medicine. Every wound becomes wisdom. Every loss becomes a map showing where you outgrew an illusion. The more you learn, the lighter you feel. You discover that forgiveness isn't about forgetting, it's about remembering without pain. It's the skill of looking at the past and seeing purpose where there used to be resentment. When you finally meet the faces that once caused you pain, you feel no anger, only clarity. You can see their fear beneath the arrogance, their insecurity beneath the cruelty. You realize they were never truly against you, they were against the reflection of their own lack that your light exposed. You offer them a silent blessing, "May you find peace, too," then you keep walking. That's the moment the last thread of the old trap breaks. And as you move farther into your new life, you feel an invisible current pushing you forward, toward new friends, new opportunities, new joy. The same divine order that protected you now promotes you. The space once filled with conflict becomes fertile ground for creation. You plant new dreams there. You water them with gratitude. You promise yourself never to let bitterness grow again. The days begin to feel different now. You wake up without that tightness in your chest, without checking who might be plotting or talking. You notice how sunlight feels warmer on your skin, how ordinary sounds, rain on the roof, the hum of a quiet room, soothe you instead of stirring worry. You realize that you are finally living instead of defending. When the heart is no longer at war, everything softens. Conversations become easier. Decisions come with less fear. The people you attract mirror your calm. They speak with kindness, act with sincerity, and honor boundaries without needing to be told. What once seemed like isolation now feels like sacred space, room for something better to grow. You understand now that the collapse of their trap wasn't about their fall but about your freedom. Life was never punishing them for your sake. It was teaching you to see the hidden balance behind everything. When energy leaves your world, it carries its own lessons away. You are left lighter, wiser, more rooted in peace. And from that peace, new blessings begin to bloom, quietly at first. A project you'd almost given up on starts gaining momentum. A relationship once strained finds gentle healing. Finances that once felt unstable begin to steady. It isn't magic, it's alignment. You are finally moving in harmony with truth instead of trying to outpace it. You start to notice how the same energy that once attracted trouble now draws opportunities. Where fear once built walls, faith builds bridges. Where resentment once burned hours of your day, gratitude opens doors. You begin to understand that what you call miracles are simply the natural results of living in peace. There's a certain dignity in quiet success. You don't announce it, you simply let your joy speak through your consistency. The people who once doubted you see the difference, not because you show off, but because peace has a radiance they can't ignore. It's not in your clothes, your home, or your words, it's in your energy. When they see you now, they see calm. And that calm tells the full story. The lessons deepen. You realize that every time someone tried to manipulate you, they were teaching you discernment. Every time they underestimated you, they were teaching you patience. Every time they tried to pull you down, they were strengthening your ability to stand tall. You can bless the memory of it now, not because it was good, but because it shaped you into someone who can't be fooled by shadows anymore. You carry that awareness gently, never bitterly. You meet new people without suspicion, but with open eyes. You trust again, but with wisdom. You hope again, but with humility. This is what true freedom feels like, your spirit no longer living in reaction to old wounds. The energy that once felt heavy now becomes fuel for creation. You begin writing, teaching, building, helping. You realize that your story, the one filled with tests and traps, can help others find courage. That's how grace multiplies. One healed person becomes a bridge for another. You no longer wish harm upon anyone. You've learned that those who hurt others are already living in the trap they made. Their own energy keeps them restless, their own deceit isolates them. You can let them go with compassion, knowing life will teach them what they refuse to learn from you. And that realization brings deep relief. You no longer need revenge or validation. You simply wish them healing. Because healed people don't build traps, they build peace. So you move forward, your heart lighter than it's ever been. The past becomes a distant country you no longer visit. The future feels open, wide, and full of light. You are walking proof that faith protects. That patience wins. That peace is stronger than fear. What others designed to limit you has become the very reason you're limitless now. The trap did not catch you, it revealed who you were all along, resilient, faithful, guided, and whole. Peace has settled so deeply into your life that it feels like breath itself. You don't chase calm anymore, you live inside it. The same places that once triggered anxiety now feel neutral, even kind. You can walk through them without a flicker of tension, because the storm inside you has cleared. People still gossip, but their words sound faint, like wind through a closed window. You hear them and keep walking. You know now that every second spent defending yourself is a second stolen from creation, from joy, from purpose. So you let silence defend you. You let consistency speak. You let time reveal what talk cannot hide. That quiet strength begins to ripple outward. Family members notice your ease and begin softening too. Co-workers feel calmer when you enter the room. Friends who used to worry about you start coming for advice instead. Without preaching a word, you become evidence of what healing looks like. You finally understand what protection really means, not walls that keep danger out, but light that makes danger lose interest. There is a sacred intelligence guiding you, arranging encounters, steering you away from the chaos you no longer need to experience. When plans shift suddenly, you no longer panic, you recognize divine scheduling at work. Then comes the most surprising part, gratitude. You find yourself thankful even for the people who betrayed you, for the obstacles that forced you to grow. Without them, you would never have discovered the depth of your own calm, the steadiness of your faith, or the beauty of starting over. You can look back at what once broke you and whisper, "Thank you for teaching me what peace costs, and thank you for showing me that I could afford it." This gratitude doesn't erase what happened, it transforms it. The same memories that once triggered pain now trigger awe. You survived. You grew. You turned poison into wisdom. Opportunities begin appearing that fit your new energy. Projects align. Friendships deepen. Doors that used to stay shut open easily, not because you forced them, but because you finally match what waits on the other side. Life trusts you now. You have proven that you can hold blessing without bitterness. You understand that abundance isn't about numbers, it's about flow. When your mind, body, and spirit move in harmony, everything else follows naturally. Money, respect, love, creativity, they are all expressions of the same current of peace moving through you. The old traps fade from memory, replaced by quiet confidence. You no longer prepare for attack, you prepare for growth. You don't pray from fear anymore, you pray from gratitude. And then, one evening, as you sit in the gentle quiet of your room, you realize something profound. You have become the very thing that once rescued you. The same voice that comforted you now speaks through you. When you tell someone, "It's going to be okay," the words carry weight because they come from experience. You understand now that every challenge was a classroom. Every heartbreak was a teacher. Every dark night was a doorway. The traps weren't endings, they were invitations to rise. So you keep rising, quietly, gracefully, endlessly. When people ask how you stayed strong, you smile. You tell them that strength isn't built by fighting but by surrendering, to truth, to patience, to peace. You tell them that the universe is always fair in the long run. What is meant to harm returns to its maker, and what is meant to heal multiplies. And as you walk away, the world feels different, not safer, but kinder. Because you have changed the only part of it you can truly control, yourself. Final lines asterisk asterisk, the trap they set for you caught only their own shadows. You walked out untouched, carrying light in your hands. And from this day forward, your peace will always be the proof that you won. Asterisk there comes a quiet evening when you realize there is nothing left to fear. The memories that once made your heart race now pass through your mind like faded photographs, important, but distant. You understand that life did not betray you, it trained you. Each betrayal showed you where your worth did not depend on approval. Each disappointment stripped away illusions until only truth remained. You look at your reflection and see strength without hardness, confidence without arrogance, compassion without exhaustion. You finally see yourself clearly, not the person they accused, not the person you feared you were, but the steady soul that walked through storms and came out cleaner. And you smile. Because you know now that every plot, every trap, every unkind word was powerless against what was eternal in you. You were never their target, you were their mirror. Their schemes only exposed their own intentions. Their traps only revealed what they carried inside. So you let it all go. You bless them, not out of weakness, but out of finality. You no longer carry the story, you simply carry the lesson. You thank every test for proving that your peace was real. Then you lift your eyes toward the future, not with longing or fear, but with calm certainty. You have learned to trust the timing of life. You have seen that everything meant for your harm becomes soil for your growth. You've seen that what leaves your life when you rise was never meant to stay on your level. Your world feels new. The colors seem brighter. The path ahead feels wide and alive. There is no rush anymore. You walk slower, but every step is sure. You have nothing to prove, nothing to defend. Just peace to protect, and purpose to pursue. In that stillness, you finally hear the voice that guided you all along, the same one that whispered through the chaos, "Be still." It says softly now, "You see? I told you." The trap they set for you caught them instead. You only needed to stay true. You breathe deeply, the air full of quiet victory. You know that you are watched over, guided, and surrounded by grace that cannot fail. You no longer need to fight for what is already yours. And as you walk into the next chapter, light-hearted, unafraid, you carry this truth like a lantern, that peace will always be your protection, truth will always be your compass, and love will always be your reward. No shadow can hold you now. The trap has fallen away, the past has folded into wisdom, and you walk free, untouchable, unafraid, and full of light. You are free now, untouched by fear, unmoved by lies, protected by peace, and guided forever by light.